How scary would it be if ants had wisdom? This is a piece of ants that invaded the earth with their minds wide open. On a small island in the United States, all the residents were running in one direction, only to see ants chasing them from all directions. These ants are not ordinary ants, but bloodthirsty murderers with organization and purpose to attack humans. In order to protect the island, the military began to use flamethrowers to kill them. In the face of a secret group of ants, flamethrowers can't do anything. This kind of destructive natural disaster can't be controlled by humans at all. They can only choose to leave the habitat. Some people who are in a hurry to escape will be eaten into a pile of bones in an instant. In order to help the residents evacuate, the military reinforced a small group, and a large number of ants came in a group. The soldiers opened the gasoline can and then drove a motorcycle to surround a big circle in the field. Another soldier used a flamethrower to ignite the gasoline, which instantly formed a firewall barrier. With this barrier, the group was isolated from the outside world and kept safe. Then the military built a tent on the spot and invited experts to discuss how to deal with it. The invasion of ants has seriously damaged the ecology and economy on the island. In order to completely eliminate these ants, the experts also took out the latest development, the pteranodon flamethrower. They wore protective clothing and came to the ants' camp. As soon as the flamethrower hit the ground, the large-scale ants were instantly eliminated. Sure enough, this high-tech has a very good effect, and the smell of this bomb is almost harmless to humans. With the elimination of large-scale ants, the residents on the island gradually regained their peace. That day, Xiaomei observed through a satellite map that there were still a large number of humans in the forest, and sent two experts to go to the forest to eliminate them. However, as soon as they arrived in the forest, they saw something strange. Two python snakes formed by ants were hovering in the air. They can not only walk freely, but also seem to be communicating with each other. Before the two people could react, the python found a large piece of ant on the top of his head. These ants gathered on the tree and disappeared together. The next second, they suddenly fell down and swallowed the two people. Fortunately, the two people were protected by protective clothing, so they were not eaten by ants. But tens of millions of ants were stuck on their bodies, which made it difficult for them to get up. The python tried his best to escape the tree, and then used the pteranodon flamethrower to save the two experts at once. But he didn't expect that he had just fallen down, and his protective clothing was cut through by a hole. An ant went into the helmet and went into it. The old doctor was so sick that he was in pain. The bite of the ant in his ear damaged his cerebrum. The python quickly took off his helmet for him, but he found that the old doctor was unconscious. So he immediately took him back to the camp for treatment. When the old doctor was lying in bed, his brain suddenly flashed a strange picture. At night, he soon regained his normal state. That night, the residents also held a celebration party for them. Halfway through the party, the captain received an urgent message and immediately interrupted the banquet. He told everyone that there was a new group of ants attacking humans. This time, the number was more than 3 times more than the first time. The situation was urgent, so the experts immediately went to the scene of the incident. When they came here, they saw the scene in front of them, which shocked the professor. They only saw a group of ants in front of them, which formed a column and formed a tree. Even the experts couldn't explain this supernatural scene for a while. In order to figure out the situation, the female teacher came to the cave to explore the source of the ants. She just looked at the cave. The next second, the black ants came out of nowhere. A little girl on the island was surrounded by logs. The expert immediately launched the equivalent bomb to save the little girl, and took her on a boat to leave here quickly. But not long after, the ants were together again and chased them. But the strange thing is that this time they didn't attack them, but dragged their boat ashore again. Then the ants opened a path and led them to a secret cave. Here they saw a cube similar to a server. The female doctor immediately determined that these ants must have been controlled by this server. Soon, the ants were crawling all over the cave, and the organization gathered together into some glowing patterns to try to communicate with humans. Only then did the experts understand that the ants wanted to occupy the entire island, and the purpose of the ants coming here was to negotiate with them, and captured the little girl as a bargaining chip for the island's control. When the two returned to the camp, they told the military everything they saw. The experts thought that force could not eliminate them at all, and had to send people to negotiate further. The military said that negotiating with the ants was simply unreasonable. Just when the two sides were at a loss for words, the former old doctor suddenly broke in to interrupt their conversation. He said he had a way to negotiate with the ants. Due to the old doctor's high prestige, the military had no choice but to agree to this decision. The next day, he and the big man came to the ant cave again. Seeing humans coming again, the little girl was also released. Soon, the ants gathered together into various glowing patterns and began to negotiate with humans. The big man soon understood what they wanted to negotiate and communicated with them through drawing patterns. At this time, the ant in the old doctor's ear kept interfering with his brain nerves. He couldn't bear to let everyone end the negotiation immediately. It turned out that he had prepared for this. He directly shone a time bomb on his chest, ready to die with them. The threatened ants quickly made a counterattack and controlled them. In the next second, countless ants gathered together into a huge ant standing in front of them. The female professor hurriedly threw the high-density information beam at the ants. Under the interference of the information beam, the big ant was instantly eliminated. The two escaped with the little girl. While the old doctor was lying on the ground, he was tortured by the ants. The ants in his ears triggered his brain nerves again. This made him recover his mind quickly. The ants gathered together again, and a bigger ant appeared in front of him. Seeing his companion leaving the cave, the old doctor was also sad. As the explosion sounded, the old doctor and the ants flew away together. After the explosion, an alien creature that looked like a cockroach quickly escaped from the cave. It turned out that all this was caused by the aliens. After the incident, the residents on the island regained peace again.